I take back everything I said about the first 5 episodes because now I see why they set it up the way that they set it up. Because it only makes sense. They're geniuses. Hey friends, welcome back to Creator Best Life for a brand new video. I'm Kimani and today we're switching things up a little bit. Now, You Season 4 Part 2 is officially out today. Y'all know how much I love You and Penn Badgley, so I'm definitely watching and finishing out the season today. And I wanted to, shake things up a little bit and do a watch with me / my reaction video to the second part of Season 4 of You. So if you like videos like this, keep watching because I don't know how this is going to go. I've never done a reaction video before, but I hope it's a good time. And, if you want to continue to support me and watch videos from me, like it, subscribe, and share with a friend. Let's jump right in. So, opening scene, Joe is watching Reese's interview with, his new constituents, apparently, and they make this, this eye contact, and it's intimidation from both sides, and then you see them cut to a clip of that same woman. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but I noticed it throughout the first 5 episodes, that it's the same woman who always has the camera, and she's always snapping a quick pic of Joe. And I don't know if he notices it all the time, but it's interesting, and I'm just trying to figure out how she is a part of this, or if this is going to be something that they use in a future season of maybe him getting caught, because I have no idea how long they're going to make this show go on. And then they cut to Joe stalking Reese online and figuring out where he lives and trying to, figure out what ways he can get in and get rid of him, basically. And then they cut to, what is her name? Kate. Then they cut to Kate at the school, and she and Roald are there trying to get into Malcolm's office. Ooh. Okay, so Adam's friend is sitting here trying to convince him to propose to Phoebe with what money? And because Adam's trying to save his car collection, they were talking about Maybachs and everything, and so the friend is telling him that because he's a diamond guy, he'll get him a diamond, and if he successfully proposes to Phoebe, then he'll be all set because he'll have an unlimited supply of money because she's rich. Ooh. And if she says no, obviously the friend keeps the car collection. Dang. Apparently it's a bet. That's weird. He says he's a financial black hole. So they make the deal. Okay. He offers to move her in. I'm assuming this is his hotel. I missed that part. But she's like, I want the penthouse. So I guess we'll figure it out, considering that he has $0. Nadia walks in on him, and she's apparently fooled under Reese's spell, just like everybody else in London, apparently. And he's having his inner monologue again as she's talking, and it's honestly hilarious. So he's training for the London Marathon at Regent's Park, so now he's figuring out how he can get him at the park on Saturday. So this is like the moment where the villain gives his little monologue about why he committed all the crimes. And so Joe is asking Reese, why are you doing all this? And he figured it out that everyone that he has killed was a liability to his mayoral campaign. And so basically he's saying he had to kill Simon because of his exploitation of women was about to be leaked, and he couldn't be associated with him. He was also killing Malcolm because Malcolm was blackmailing him for his gambling habit. Joe's still resisting the fact that they're alike. And so he says, you have one chance to make it up to me. He has to find someone to frame for everything that Reese has done. So Reese is going to come up with a plan while Joe comes up with a person to pin it all on. Ooh wee, this is getting interesting. Oh, okay. So we cut back to Adam's event, apparently. I'm assuming it's Phoebe's event though, because she's the one who sent out the invitation. And who do we see? The same lady from before who's always walking around with the camera taking pictures of Joe. She's on the staff now and she's, you know, listening to Adam's directions for the night. Okay. And she spots Joe walk in. She's intrigued. I'm confused. This is so weird. So Kate's got the police coming to watch them. So Joe walks in, he locks eyes with Kate and she's like, wow, you invited him, Phoebe? And Phoebe's like, yeah, I feel safest around him when he's around. So of course I invited him. And she's like, yeah, he's a hero and this and that. And Kate's like, this is insane that y'all have forgotten that I was the one who saved him from the burning building. So it's interesting that they mention this because I'm assuming that the writers were trying to imply that, yeah, people always, you know, praise the men for being valiant and heroes and this and that, but women are often forgotten, especially when women save men a lot. Now she confides in Joe about being followed. So she's spilling the tea with Joe. Sophie. So apparently she's talking about Sophie, how she is a shallow person and she also has a pill popping problem. So she doesn't see any of them actually hurting people. She just is, you know, judging them and talking about them and gossiping. And then she's like, Connie, on the other hand, she said he's untethered. So he drinks in the morning, drugged up to his eyeballs. And he has no alibi, apparently. Now Joe's like, the gears are turning. So now Joe's concerned. Some guy named Nico Landros, who is a shipping heir and a bachelor. Apparently, Kate has a little bit of a thing for him. This guy wants to charm her into giving a private showing of Simon's work. Apparently he's out from under his father's thumb. And he said he's noticed that she's not using the Lockwood name. Apparently that's her family name. And he feels her pain of trying to get away from the family. So now Joe's out to lunch and a beer with Connie. He's apologizing for what happened at the farmhouse. Apparently the police think it could be Connie. So this is actually perfect for Joe. Even though Joe's like, not you. How could they think it was you? So he's got to find Connie and plant the ear on her. he's got to kill Kate's dad because he's backing Reese's campaign. He said Tom Lockwood is the devil. Stop. Wow. Oh, that's good. Okay, well, that was a great episode back. I wish that there was more killing, to be honest. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the addition of the stalker character. It just made sense for Phoebe's character to have a stalker, because a lot of rich and famous people do, because there are some really sick people that need help. I honestly, like I said earlier, Reese is probably my favorite character of this season, outside of Joe, because he's definitely got great comedic timing. He is really sly, which I like. And now I really love Nadia as well, because she is so skeptical and suspicious of Joe now. And we need characters like this, because that is the voice of the audience that's watching. It's like, is there going to be someone that is questioning him? Because there's got to be someone that questions him. And I just love that it's not just Roald, who is another guy. It has to be another woman, because I think it can be dangerous for shows to only have women go along with the creepy serial killer guy, because then it shows that all women are like naive and don't care, and don't have that intuition that, you know, women are known for, which is very interesting. So I love that Nadia, who is also supposed to be like, not the child, she's grown because she's in college, but the younger person that sees everything, and she was supposed to be, you know, really smart, but a little more doe-eyed and everything. But they also sprinkled in bits of her innocence not being gone because of her. They sprinkled in bits of her innocence actually being gone, because it started out in the beginning, revealed that she had been sleeping with Malcolm, and then now, you know, she's suspicious of Joe and everything. And so we obviously know that she's an adult. And then I just love how she keeps popping up in Joe's life, and it's easy to be a little suspicious of her too, but now that she's suspicious of him, I think it's safe to rule out that this can't be her. But I also think that she's going to be part of his downfall this season, and I'm interested to see how that plays out, considering that he's likely going to have to leave London. So where will he go? Is he going to go back to Paris to find Marianne, or does he go to an Asian country? Does he go to Australia? Does he go to an African country? Does he try to go back to the US? Like, how is he going to swing this? Because he can't call his friend back that was working for Love's dad, because he got rid of his burner phone. So I don't know what Joe was going to do in this case. Maybe he'll marry Phoebe and take all her money and then be able to move somewhere else, because now that he's broke because of that guy stealing his money, who the heck knows? I would give it a solid, I would give it an 8, because at first I was going to give it a 7.5, but the reason that it's an 8, because we were able to wrap up the loose end of who that woman was with the camera. So we know that not only was she stalking Phoebe, but she was stalking Joe, because he was always around Phoebe, and she was trying to figure out who this interloper was. So I love that they were able to clear that up, and that way we're not thinking, oh, is she working with Reese? Like, what is this about? So that's interesting. And then I also love that they introduced the next layer of conflict, because Joe at the end of this episode is like, I'm scot-free. The lady has gone down for Simon's murder, and now she's gone down for the Eat the Rich killer, so I'm free. But no, they have to introduce a next layer of conflict, because it's got to feel like a roller coaster for the character and the audience. So I really appreciate that they were able to include that, raise the stakes just a little bit, because now that he's back in with Kate, he's going to be grappling with, I'm so in love with her, well, really obsessed, and I might kill her, but now I'm tasked with killing her dad so that I'm not found out. So I love it, honestly. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably need to raise it a little bit more. I would say, let's give it a 9. Remember when I said that I didn't like the first 5 episodes as much as I usually like other seasons because Joe was not dropping bodies the way that he was supposed to? Well, I'm eating some humble pie. I have finished the season and it was so good. So I did split it up. I did not finish the season in that one sitting. As you can see, I am in a different space. I am thoroughly impressed with how they wrapped the season up, and let's just talk about it. So this woman, she pulls oh, I need to keep you safe. I need to make sure that you're good. The police told me to take you away because someone is here to get you. The Ether Rich killer could get you. That gets juicier. And so she takes her to this hotel room. Everyone's looking for her, and Phoebe ends up finding out that this woman is a erotomaniac. Erotomaniac. Does anyone know how to pronounce this word? My goodness. And so this woman is making believe that they have a friendship and everything. And so Joe ends up finding her, and Nadia follows Joe to this room, you know, after they figure out that the woman is actually mentally ill. And because Joe wasn't able to plant the ear on Connie, he figured that, which I called, that he would plant it on said erotomaniac. And so that was beautifully done. I was happy about that. Why we root for Joe, I have no idea, but because they have made him the protagonist, it only makes sense for us to do so. So Nadia has followed him and the police to this room, and you know, everyone's like, they saved the day, and he's Phoebe's hero once again, and obviously Adam's a little jealous about that too, and whatnot. And then, so Joe also like kind of rekindles his relationship with Kate again, and then Joe also is still on the lookout for Reese. So Reese has found himself in Joe's apartment again, and Joe was like, why are you here? And Reese says, like, it's obvious, I want a friend, and which is a creepy response. But after that, Joe was like, okay, I'm gonna get Reese this time. I'm gonna set up a camera and hide it in my apartment, and then, or flat, because he's in London. And so then he just sets it up for the next time that Reese shows up, and we let that go. So then Reese does show up, and they have words and whatnot, and then obviously he leaves. And then after that, we're supposed to like remember but kind of forget that he still got the camera set up. So Nadia walks in after being suspicious of him, not the same day, but she breaks into his home, and she snoops around and stuff and finds this key. And does she follow him? No, she ends up finding the location of where he is keeping something, but we don't know what it is yet. So she ends up going inside, and we find out that, my goodness, Marianne is in the box, which is wild. So we thought that Marianne had gotten on the train and gone back to Paris to her daughter, and that is not the case. So then episode 8, we have 7 or 8, forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, but whatever episode it is, we go through Marianne's thoughts, which we don't do as often of the entire experience in the box. We saw Beck, and she recalled her experiences as they were reading excerpts from her book when she was supposed to have been dead by then, which was awesome. But Joe had given her drugs, and at first they recall like how it all happened. So he had taken her from the bus station and taken her to this apartment, and he was obviously not himself. It was weird, and he was obsessed with Reese, obviously. And then he gets her in the cage, and you know, this routine of him bringing her food from around the corner, which we noticed because when he was talking to Kate while they were walking down the street, he was like, I'm a creature of habit, because she was like, this food is trash. I go to the same place, and it's right next to that red bomb shelter door. So it's revealed that Marianne is being kept in the box because we've been waiting half the season to figure out where Joe's box is. And so we find out it's in the bomb shelter. And then Marianne is really struggling, and Nadia finds her. So they devise this plan to get her out. They don't know how it's going to happen, but Nadia is supposed to be bringing tools and a knife and everything and some drugs. And they don't really reveal as much about what the plan is. They cut it right before they divulge what the plan is. So then they cut back to Joe, and Joe has, you know, dealing with Marianne taking her food and stuff. He hits his head. He's supposed to be killing Reese, because that's what, you know, he hates Reese. Reese is his adversary. So another interesting scene in the Marianne episode when she was in the box was that he was visited by all of the ghosts of the women that he killed. So we really get to see just how many women, which was a huge amount, because all you saw was like the silhouettes, the back of their heads. But Love and Beck were there, and they each spoke to him and helped him, you know, make a realization, and helped him find the key to help Marianne. So he had to go back to his house to get the key. But it was just really cool how they brought that full circle, and so we got to see how dark he really was and how his mental breakdown really was brewing the whole time. I'm forgetting a key component. So Kate's father comes into town, who is the devil, essentially, which is what Reese called him, and he is a terrible person. And so he obviously does not like Joe. He pegs Joe for what he is. So then he invites Kate's father to his office at school, and he attempts to kill him, and he's not fazed by almost being murdered. And he's like, you know, it would be better because I know who you are, and I could like make it a clean sweep for you to, you know, not ever be found, even though Joe knows he can hold it over his head if you kill Reese. So now he's like, okay, now I gotta kill Reese. So Joe figures out how to find Reese at this like country house, because Reese has gone into hiding because the dad had come forth and said he planted news that Reese was lying about all the stories in his book. And so now Reese is in hiding. Joe has found him. Joe tortures Reese, ends up killing him. There. We're like, okay, now the dad is the adversary. Right after Joe finishes killing Reese, Reese walks in on him and looks down at the body, and he's like, oh, you did it. You killed the real Reese. So mind you, I'm sitting there like, does he have a twin? What is happening? Because I thought it was like, oh, Reese has a twin brother. He killed the wrong brother. Reese set it up where he killed the wrong brother. I don't know. I was just like, Reese is dark, obviously, so this is confusing to me. We find out Reese gives him the rundown. When Joe hit his head while he was supposed to be bringing food to Marianne in the box, he completely went berserk and started dissociating and recreating Reese in his mind. And that's why he was like reading all about him. Reese became the adversary in his mind. So Joe was texting himself. The texts were fake, but he was imagining Reese all the time. And he even showed like Joe was talking to himself at the parties at the Sundry house, and he was the one who kidnapped Rold at the big house that Phoebe's family owned. And that blew my freaking mind. Well written. And when the character Reese, the Figment, said it was only a matter of time for you to crack, I was like, yes, it was only a matter of time for them to do it like that. Oh my gosh, I love how they changed his character. This was such a pleasant surprise, and I take back everything I said about the first 5 episodes, because now I see why they set it up the way that they set it up, because it only makes sense. They are geniuses. Now that we know Joe was crazy, he sees Reese all the time, and Reese, him, which is his dark side that he keeps trying to avoid. And it also makes sense that they planted little Easter eggs in the beginning, which is great. Like the first 5 episodes of how I was always wondering, like, how come he gets along so well with Reese in the first 5? Because Reese kind of like echoed everything that we've known about what Joe would say about the elite. So it was interesting that he had like somebody that felt the same way about different things. We cut back to like Nadia trying to get the thing. She asked her boyfriend, who's the other student in Joe's class, and he has access to beta blocker, and that's to slow Marianne's heart down. I didn't know that that's what beta blockers did, and I feel like it's interesting that the term beta blockers has been coming up a lot in the past few years, and I don't know if it's just because celebrities be using it, and I was like, I don't understand what that means. Is it for anxiety? What is it for? So anyways, I gotta look that up. But so she has like the syringe and everything, and she's going through the train terminal to get back to Marianne and bring her all the tools so that Marianne can like you know, live. We don't know what the plan is, but Marianne has been through days, and Joe has forgotten about her, and Reese is like, you got to figure out where she is. So Joe is like going through his own apartment and trying to figure out like how to find Marianne, and by the time he's figured it out, Nadia has been there already. So Nadia ends up getting put in jail and bailed out by her boyfriend because they found this the syringes and the knives and everything. So she gets out. He helps get her out, the boyfriend, and then she's like, I need to tell you something. So she like gives him the rundown and everything about why she's like not neurotic but kind of acting that way in a way, and like keeping things from him and whatnot, just acting weird. And then he helps her because he's like, oh, I care about you, I want to help you, blah blah blah. So she takes the beta blocker because Nadia swaps the pills. So it's all beta blockers, and you know, Marianne pretends to be knocked out. So Joe comes in and sees her knocked out. So while Nadia's in prison, you know, all this is happening. So Joe leaves Marianne on like a park bench. So Nadia has been trying to get to her to give her like the antidote, whatever that drug is called, to the beta blockers to, you know, bring her heart back to life. And so, because Joe thinks she's dead. So Nadia gets to her after Joe has finally left her on the bench, and Joe feels like, man, I could not save Marianne. So he walks to a bridge and he has words with Reese, and it's like, I don't want you anymore. He you know, figuratively, which we see him throw Reese over the side. They hug, and he throws Reese over the side of the bridge. So Reese is supposed to be dead in the water, like have drowned. And then, you know, Joe has this realization, and he's like, I'm gonna toss myself over the side too, so that I can end it and I don't have to hurt anybody else. He jumps in as well. So he's like drowning and having flashbacks of different things and whatnot. And so this is supposed to be the end of Joe's life. So anyways, we also in a previous episode had Phoebe actually get married to Adam. Adam is such a douche, and he is trying to steal everything. And so Phoebe has had a mental breakdown because they're supposed to be having this engagement party, but it's actually supposed to be the wedding. Kate doesn't approve, obviously, and Joe's not. Joe doesn't go because he's dealing with Reese and whatnot. But anyways, Phoebe has this mental breakdown, and they found her wandering the streets and everything. No one helped her. They just like took pictures of her and whatnot, as people do, unfortunately, instead of giving help. And then we see Adam has like checked her into a facility and is like really excited, and now he's seen cheating on her, and you know, this dominatrix is in there, and 2 other guys come in there, and they're like, yeah, we've got something for you, and they end up killing him. And then you find out, because Kate visits her dad, you find out that because she had told her dad about this and how terrible Adam was, he ended up sending those 3 people to actually kill Adam. So he's like, Kate, this is your fault. You shouldn't have told me about the situation if you didn't want me to kill it. So that shows like the duality of Kate and how dark she really is. And she contemplates that, and he wants her to come back to the business, work for him, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, because you're evil. I don't want to be evil like you. I skipped a major part. So Joe goes back to torture Kate's dad, ends up killing him. And he doesn't say anything about it to Kate. But then after Joe had jumped over the bridge, it's revealed, because obviously it's episode 9, not episode 10. He can't be dead. And that's not, I didn't feel like that would be a good enough resolution for him, and like just the themes of the show, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, so Joe wakes up in the hospital. The police have obviously been the ones that have saved him. Kate walks in. It's unspoken that she knows that Joe killed her dad because of the fact that they share their secrets together. And so once they share their secrets, she's like, I can make everything go away for you, just like her dad did, because now she has inherited the company. I'm like, okay, Kate's gone dark now. Because they're like, we can be dark together. Just make sure that we don't, we keep each other light, but we know it's more about enabling, I feel like. So anyways, Joe looks around the hospital room and he doesn't see Reese, so he's like, oh thank God, I've gotten rid of Reese, so at least I got something out of it, even though, you know, I didn't die when I was drowning myself. So anyways, we cut to Nadia and her boyfriend. They have broken into Joe's apartment because Nadia wants to, you know, get all the dirt on him so that they can put him in prison. Because Marianne has gotten away. She went back to her daughter. And so what's really cool is that the boyfriend stayed outside while Nadia was inside. So he was supposed to be like, look out, and she got what she needed. So she was like, okay, I'm done, and goes back out to the car. And so at the car, she's walking around like, okay, where is he? Because he's not sitting in the car ready to drive away. And she turns around and they reveal Joe is right behind her. And we're like, oh my God. And he's also like in like all dark clothes, which we don't always see. And so he has a really dark monologue with her, which was so awesome. And he basically says that he's planted everything on her. No one's gonna believe her. She was the eat the rich killer the whole time, and because she's into murder mysteries and everything, and she was trying to frame it on him and this and that. So she's gonna spend the rest of her life in prison. And she backs up and falls over her boyfriend's corpse. So he has been dead for at least a couple minutes. Joe slaughtered him, and instead of killing her, put her in prison. And she never spoke about it because I guess she was so freaked out and heartbroken. And who was gonna believe her, unfortunately, especially because Kate had already scrubbed every resemblance of like all that Joe had done from the papers, like Love Quinn dying and everything. It's amazing, which is what their point was, that you know, a straight white man, people forget all the dark stuff that they've done, specifically in this country, but you know, everywhere. And that goes along with their themes all the time, which is the point of the Eat the Rich and everything. I loved it. It was beautifully done. And so they cut to Joe and Kate in New York because his identity is scrubbed clean, so he can go back as Joe Goldberg. They are in a relationship together, running the company together, and, you know, saving the world, which is what a lot of rich folks like to claim that they're doing. But, you know, they get a lot of tax write-offs for it, while they also secretly do dark stuff. And as we know, we have access to documents where you can see companies playing both sides politically, because not only do they get the tax write-offs, but it's also the fact that they are able to whichever side, because they supported both, gets them whatever they wanted as a part of their agenda, that's the side that works for them. It's a win-win for both of them either way. So I just love their critique of the American system, of Western culture in general, and they're talking to a reporter and talking about like all the good that they're supposed to be doing. Joe was clean shaven, so he's like the Joe that he was in season 1 through 3, and he steps away and, you know, looks out at the horizon, sees all the buildings and everything, and you know, he's talking, and you can hear like Kate and the other people in the background talking, and then they show Joe's reflection, and it turns into Reese. So that's an indication that Joe died. Reese did not die. So he has fully embraced the dark side of himself, and that's why he couldn't see Reese, because now he has become the darkest part of him. And I just love how beautifully it was written, and it was great. Kudos to them. I give them a round of applause. So yeah, that's what I rated, a 10 out of 10. I loved it. It was beautifully written, beautifully acted out, and I'm still obsessed. I'm still obsessed. Thoroughly impressed, even more so than the first 3 seasons. I can't wait to see how they go out with a bang in season 5, because they have not missed. They haven't. So I know that it's going to be amazing. So anyways, I really enjoyed this style of recap and review, just my reaction of specifically episode 6, which was the first episode of part 2. Let me know down in the comments if you guys like this version, or if you prefer the usual version of me just doing a recap of the episodes and then, you know, adding my little commentary on it, giving it a rating. Please give me some feedback. I love doing these for you guys. I love doing these for myself, so I'm going to keep doing them, but let me know like which version you like the best, or if you want like a nice combination. Also, if you like videos like this, please don't forget to like it. I would love if you subscribed. We have finally made it to 100 subscribers. I'm so excited. We have a great community here, so I would love to connect more with you guys. So don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and don't forget to share with a friend if you think that they would enjoy content like this. As always, guys, I can't wait to bring more videos like this to you, and I will talk to you real soon in a brand new video. Bye!